home free with the duck and an eagle shooting the breeze. From paintball fields to campfire fun, you know the rowdy talk's just begun. Now kick up your feet and pour a glass. We're about to have a blast. We're the rowdy ones. We're the rowdy ones. The rowdy ones.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're cruising through these episodes, and we have a really special guest for y'all this evening. We have Tim Seguin with Blazing Gun Dog Kennels coming on tonight with us to talk about, how it all started, his passion, his love for it, how it turned into such a great business. And, we're just here to talk about it. A little background. I'll just touch in lightly to it. A dog, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a dog changed y'all's lives in 2012 and was a driving force behind in 2017 when you started the business, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I've had dogs my whole life, and I think that was I kind of started getting into hunting a little bit, trying to figure it out, and I wanted a dog to hunt, so I went and found a dog, and that's kind of, we can get into all of that, but
Yeah.
he was kind of a handful of a dog, and we turned him into something special, and I think I've like I said, I've had dogs my whole life, and I didn't realize I was training them. I didn't realize I had, such a specialty skill until further on in life. So I was just out hanging out with dogs, and dogs respected me well, and it turned into a business. So
That's
but
incredible.
yeah, yeah. But that dog, his name was Blaze, and he hunted a few seasons strong for us once we got him trained up, and when he passed on, I told my wife I wasn't going to be without any more hunting dogs, and I showed up with like 4 that same week, and just had a selection of hunting dogs. And really, the business just kind of started getting more and more in depth of training dogs, and having more than one dog out in the field, and further on in life, we like I said, we decided to turn it into a business, and we can get into all of that, how it happened, and some cool stories and all of that. So
That'll be awesome. How old were you when you first got Blaze?
man, you're gonna have to do some math for me.
That's
I
all
was
right.
let's see,
I
I'm
guess
37.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife and I have been together for uh nearly 18, 19 years. And we had dogs. She wasn't really into dogs. I think her family had a few dogs. She would come over to my house, and there would be dogs all over the place. My mom loved dogs. I would just bring random stray dogs home. I would always feel bad if I'd see one out, and I'd just take it home. Of course, I would try to find its owner, but if it didn't find an owner, we were the new owner.
Right.
And man, before Blaze, we had a lab named Hank, and I would teach him to jump off the docks and dive and pick stuff up out of the water. And I didn't realize, like I said, I didn't realize I was training.
Mhm.
But as we got further, as my wife and I, got further into a relationship, we kind of got some of our own dogs. And when we got married, I had a few other labs. As they passed on, I started getting into hunting, and I got Blaze. So I think I was probably in my, early 20s, 22, 23 maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
So
I guess the reason I asked that was just I always find it interesting, like what stages of life people are in when they like hit these crossroads where they find a new passion or realize a
yeah,
passion that they've always had and always been training for without knowing. So early 20s is a great time to do it. It's before you're too heavily invested in any one direction. But I
no
think
doubt.
yeah, but people can make these moves at any age and at any time in their life and fulfill themselves more and live a happier life because they made a decision that fills their heart.
Yeah, I was super blessed with a job that would let me bring my dogs to work every day. I was looking at some photos a while back, and there was Ellie and Blaze. They were hanging out in my office, and I was, like I said, in my early 20s, and these two yellow labs are. I got into operating gas plants, and I was kind of an operator manager further along. But those dogs were always in the office. They were always in the truck in the field with me. Luckily, I had a company truck, and I didn't really care much about it, so it was just covered in dog hair. I was like, "Y'all load up, let's go." And- but that's the thing. Like, I still talk to my original boss today. I just spoke with him yesterday, and he said one thing. He's like, "Man, we had such a great working relationship." And I was with that company for almost 10 years or so. And
Mm.
one thing he said, "Man, I should have never let you bring those dogs to work, because that was it, man." I mean, I was just hooked. Once I would be watching YouTube videos of people duck hunting and stuff, and I'm supposed to be, operating a plant. But this is just one of those things that it definitely was a hobby and a passion for dogs that turned into a business. And I even told people, people I'm friends with today, "Hey, I want to do this, for a living. This is what I want to do for a business." And I don't think anybody ever thought I was serious, because
Mhm.
it's not easy to start up a dog business at all.
No.
But yeah, so
Well, that's amazing, and it's funny. The thing about dogs is they're just they're such a godsend, right? But then you
yeah.
have if you don't ever have a hunting dog, and I'm not taking anything away from owning a dog and that being your best friend, that's who they are. But then you get something like a lab where it is just not just a hunting dog, or it's not just a companion dog, it's also a working dog. In that relationship, man,
Hmm.
it's just a relationship that you're so blessed to have, and it's the hardest when it ends.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't even want to think about. I was just in the field today. I posted on Instagram. I was in the field today with my personal dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a young one in there that's like maybe a year and a half, and everybody else is 7, 9 years old, and I see all the grays. You don't need to show that to them. Like, they don't see that, but I
Nope.
do, right? You got to
Mhm.
stay strong for them. But
Mm-hmm.
I hate it, man. It's tough. Those
And
guys
it,
are, they got a few more years on the earth with us, but
Yeah.
they age quickly. So
yeah, it hurts so much because they're so empathetic. Like dogs can feel your emotions and like react to try to make you happier. I mean, like you become their whole lives. Um, you know,
yeah, if you're out there sad because they have gray hairs, they're going to be sad. That's not what you
yeah,
need.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be happy for them and just cheer them up. But at the end of the day, it's tough. So that's one of the things that, it's the hardest part about this business. I just sold a dog to a client. He's in his 70s, and he's like, "Yeah, I think this may be my last dog. We get 10 years out of them, 10 to 12 years." And I'm like, "Well, I'm hoping, maybe you get one when you're 82." But I,
Mhm.
Right.
he gets a dog like every decade, basically.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah. They won't quit on you, so we can't quit on them, right?
we're not quitting on him. That's right.
That's
Yeah,
So
right.
labs are pretty special too. Like I grew up, we always had cats and dogs in our house, but my dad hunted birds as well, but mostly grouse and pheasant. So he trained his own
mhm.
black lab, and we always had labs and stuff. But they're so friendly, but they're also like kind of stubborn and stupid in some ways. They're just like bullheaded and but like
They're a
just happy go
Labrador. Yeah,
lucky
there's no doubt.
dogs. They're just they're hurt. They're hurt.
They're
Uh,
hard to get mad at too, because they
Oh
they
oh,
mean well.
oh man.
But
So I
they
do want to. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying they're pretty versatile, like you say, the hunting upland and pheasant and stuff. That's we get calls, and they're like, "Hey, I want this GSP, or this English cocker, because I do some pheasant hunting, but I also do some duck hunting." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Just get a lab, man. They can do it all.
Do it
Just
all.
get you a lab." Like,
Man,
so
I love GSPs. Yeah, for anyone listening, if no one knows what a GSP is, it's a German short-haired pointer. By the way, beautiful dog.
yeah,
Just they're amazing personalities, but they are. I don't know if I've ever met one that wasn't 100 mile an hour all the time. It's like
yeah,
they love to go. They are full of that jet fuel for sure.
They
They
need to
love to
be
hunt.
too.
They love, yeah. They
Yeah.
have they kind of have, I think they have a one track mind, and it's hunt, 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 and you see some that shut it off and make good pets too. But once
Mhm.
you introduce them to the hunting world and get them involved to which they're actually bred to do, it's hard to tone them back. So,
Yeah, it's over.
but
Yeah, and it's like giving
yeah,
a herding dog breed like space to run instead of being cooped up. It's like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
bred to do it, and once they
Yeah.
get a taste of it, they'll
Once they
never let go.
figure it out, once they get it,
Yeah,
the clients that have like small homes and small yards, and they're like, "Hey, I need some training with my dog," and I get it out here to all the property and run it for a month straight every day, and then they go back home to their small yard. It kind of backfires on me. Like
hmm
I get in a little bit of like, "Holy cow, where's my space to run?" So, and then I get the phone call that they have a bad dog now. But
no, just bad for you.
yeah,
It's not bad, not bad.
exactly.
um
But
so I would like to kind of touch on it because you're a very well-known trainer, and I do want to mention the dogs that you do breed, and I want to preface it with this. I want to start with this for everyone listening. Tim is not a puppy mill. He's very selective in his breedings, and they are for hunters, and it is with a purpose. So I just want to do that if no one knows Tim,
Yeah,
just so they know,
I think
because
his I think his backstory alone, showed the love of
yeah,
dogs. I
a
don't
hundred
think you can
percent.
have a puppy mill if you love animals.
yeah,
It doesn't go one
Yeah.
and one together. So if you grow up with that appreciation for them and love for them, then naturally you're gonna treat them right in any business too.
Yeah, a hundred
yeah,
percent, 100%. But what what I wanted to talk about is, your breeding schedules obviously have to work around the hunting season because you hunt and all the dogs, they're out hunting and all that. Um,
yeah.
I really wanted to kind of touch on, you go into a lot of depth with picking what's going to be what's going to make a really good puppy and the things you want. How do you really start just trying to, and hopefully I'm not asking a secret or anything, but like that's got to
Not
take a
at
lot of
all.
time. And, because you're very particular in your genetics and how
Hmm.
these dogs act and behave. And like, I just think that's really, really important.
It
Like, how
it
do you,
is, and the science behind it is, I guess even there's no science behind it. I mean, we train, I would say 90% of our puppies. I would say 80% of them never even leave the kennel, and it's something we've worked for a long time. So what
Mhm,
I'm getting at, like when we have a litter of pups, not saying we've made mistakes and we're saying probably shouldn't do that breeding again, but that's kind of part of the business and learning from it. But we kind of stick to what we know. Um, and those dogs are in training with us daily. So when
yep.
we have a litter of pups, say 10 puppies, maybe only 3 leave the kennel. The other 7 stay back in training for months, 6 months,
Mhm,
maybe 18 months, and we know exactly what we're producing. And when a client calls and they tell me what they're looking for, I kind of have, especially for coming up, the next, year or two, I would say 3 different calibers of breedings. I mean, we have some stuff that's gonna really, keep you on your toes, which is good, and some clients need that say the guide services or guys that hunt, 90 days out of the year,
mhm,
with big groups and big guns. It's a lot of work for those dogs, and you gotta have something that's gonna do it. And then we have a little bit of like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a great pet. I'm gonna go hunt. I'm gonna get the job done. I'm not gonna need an experienced handler to do the job," you know? Those are some of the best dogs because anybody can train them. You can kind of, focus on exactly what you want out of that dog, and it's gonna understand it versus, one track mind kind of, it's like some of the guide dogs, I believe they just go, go, go.
mhm,
But the biggest thing is how we're able to accomplish what we have and what we know is because we keep so many puppies back. And I think a lot of people would love to do that, but it's not easy. There's a lot of work involved when you're raising 15 puppies.
Mhm.
You know, it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of patience. Um, but I'm a big believer in, if you stick to that program and you let us raise those puppies up, you're gonna have a foundation built so solid around the hunting and the working side of things. Plus, we treat them as they're our own dogs.
Mhm.
You have a well-rounded dog that you can continue training on. And you and I have talked about that some,
Mhm.
the other night. So, but and just sticking to what we know. There's been some stuff out there that I loved, and that I loved watching dogs from. Well, a lot of our breedings are surgical AIs. We use frozen semen.
Mhm.
We kind of keep up with some stud dogs and their trialing and stuff, and we'll use that. But most of the genetics and the different characteristics are going to come from the bitch line. That's what we own. We own all of the mama dogs, and we know
Mhm.
exactly how they are and how they're going to produce their puppies.
Yep.
The stud dog matters, but it really matters on the bottom side of the pedigree.
Mm.
So,
I like the way you
and
explained all that because a while back, for people that listen to more of our episodes, we had one where Hal was talking about getting a new puppy, and it's been a while now. And I talked to him after the episode, and I was like, "Oh, when are you going to get it?" This he's like, "I don't know, just whenever one's ready for me." And so I
mhm.
like now hearing the backstory of like how that transpires, because it would be easy to just turn around and sell them quickly, but making sure they're ready to be sold and going to the right places, like that's something I appreciate, like down to my core.
Yeah, that's and I appreciate that you agree with that, because we have a we almost tailor each dog to every single client. I mean, our client base has grown pretty big now,
Mhm.
and we still, to this day, a client calls us, says, "I need a dog to do this and this and this, and this is our lifestyle." And I'm saying, "Okay, that's how we're going to build your dog." Um, it's just how we've been able to accomplish, like, such producing such good dogs. I, Out of all the dogs in the kennel right now, there's not a single dog out there that's alike, and I say that
Hmm.
all the time. Even if it's out of the same breeding, they all have different personalities, and a lot of them are going to feed off of their owners' personalities too. So, which is we it's stuff that we have to work through and train with. And but um, what I was going to say earlier is, would like we get all of our, like, right now we have a litter of puppies here, and then we should be doing another breeding over the next maybe month. um and then we'll have a breeding where puppies go home in September of this year. That's closer to hunting season. But those dogs are already scheduled. The litter of puppies that we have available right now, they're not available, they're all scheduled for training for this year into next year. And when a client calls me and says, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want," we don't really go outside of the box of our genetics that we've known for the past 6 8 years. We stick to those. um it's it's super super important that we stick to what we know. I've made a few mistakes of trying stuff a little different, and it just kind of backfired on us, because it's our training style is a little different than a lot of people, and we really have to have dogs that fit our training style. So we got to
Is
just stick to what we know.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, is when you're trying to like tailor them for the customers, is that more their unique personalities and kind of sorting that and having your training regimen pretty consistent across all personalities, or is it like pinpointing the training to the unique personalities of the dogs?
um it would go both ways. So you have to have a foundation always around obedience, and that's pretty, like, obedience is obedience. But then you get into clients that have different needs. And I mean, we're only training working dogs and hunting dogs and active dogs, right? Maybe clients that run marathons or go hiking a lot or go boating a lot. I don't know. But they all, or maybe some of our clients are in their late 70s, 80s, and they just want to. A lady not far from us just bought a really, really active dog
Mhm.
because she's getting older and she wanted the dog to keep her active. I'm like, okay. This is going to be a fun one. So we taught this dog to hunt, to do all kinds of stuff, and she doesn't hunt. It's her pet, but she goes out and shoots marks for it and retrieves with
Oh,
it
That's cool.
that's
and is
awesome.
walking 5-6 miles a day with it and sending me these videos and just loves the
Wow.
dog. I mean,
That's
you know, so they have their when a client calls and says this is what I want, that's what we do for them. So
right. That's amazing. And I do want to just I want to touch on your facility because I mean it is so top notch. If no one's ever seen, we actually have some of our followers that some people follow you in
yeah,
the paintball world, and your content's amazing. But your facility, you can see it in all of your videos and everything, and it is just super nice. It's like it's in a very good those dogs are just in an amazing place, and it's like a heaven
yeah,
to them, right? The way it's built. But I want to touch on something. Did you design that pond that you have the way it's built? Did you
I did.
design that?
Yep, my son and I built that pond. That was just flat. So all of the land behind the facility is kind of a floodplain, and it's just flat, and real great. It's perfect land for dog training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we did. I mean, that's just over experience over time, and that little pond is such a great pond to bring dogs up on and teach them
Mm-hmm.
the the basics and even the advanced work on water to land transitions. And but we set up like pit blinds, duck blinds, boats, you name it, man. And just have a lot of fun at that pond. And then we have the water well tied into it. It's grown pretty large over the years. We just keep digging on it and making it deeper. But anytime it gets to a certain level, the water well kicks on and fills it back up so it stays fresh year round, and
Wow.
just a super fun pond. So
Well, and what I love most about it, I really appreciated about it, and I was like, oh, he had to have designed this because you got a lot of little like hidey holes, like you got some blind marks that are going to happen, and you
yeah.
got some like little islands, peninsulas out there, and that's such a key thing to be able to make that dog mark blind and use their nose and their knowledge of hey, it was going this
Hmm.
way, like. And I was just like, man, I was like, that had to have had a thought and a very specific reason behind
That sucker was drawn up on a piece of paper for for about a year. And true story, this guy next door to me, he buys all this land. He starts tearing down these houses and stuff. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He's buying our land up. Come to find out, he's a really cool guy. He's a great friend of mine now. He owns a construction company, and we tied our land together, and he has all of the equipment you can think of: dozers, track
it.
hose. My son's a good operator, so that guy that I was cussing at first became our best friend, not just because he has all the equipment. He's a great dude. And
Yeah.
and man, he let us use his equipment, and we just got after it and kept making that pond larger and larger. It was small at first.
Mhm.
We rented some equipment, kind of dug and built some levees, but it is definitely built as I'm a big time hunter, and everything I put into these dogs is what I experience in the field and how we hunt. Um, so I mean, there's days where we have layout blinds and 15 dozen goose spread around the pond, and dog hides, and we're simulating a hunt as close as possible, and it's dead summer, but we're
Yeah.
out there and we're duck hunting. Dogs don't know no difference, but it's hot. So
Yep.
and that's but there was some thought put into it. And so those are called, they call them tech ponds because it's the it it can be very technical if
Mhm.
and I don't realize it. And this is something I told my wife several times. I mean, I do this every day, and it's kind of just like secondhand to me. I know exactly what I'm doing. I read the dogs very well. I don't realize how badass they are sometimes, when they're doing that. And then a guy shows up with a dog and they see that pond, they're like, and the dog goes around the pond or won't even enter and hit the island and go back to the other side. I'm like, why? What the heck, man? And my dogs are just smoking it, man. So
Oh, I and that.
it's something.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. It's just something I do it every day, right? And you guys get to see it.
Yeah.
I see it every day, and I think I overlook sometimes how good some of these dogs actually are, to be honest. So
Oh, and I mean, in one of your more recent videos, I forget the dog's name you're training, but it did, it was land, water, and then the same line took a straight line back. I mean, direct line back.
yeah,
It wasn't, I'm going to get on the land and come back. No, it did the same line coming back. And I was like, dang. I was like, that's one hell of a dog. I was like, that's amazing.
yeah,
And
and the whole grounds is set up for that. That's the cool thing about this property. All of the fence lines we've put in, we have built this for a training ground.
yeah.
So
Well, you've definitely done a great job with it. Real quick though, where can people, the people that are listening, where can they find you to see these videos, social media stuff going on? Just real quick.
yeah, just check out Blazing Gun Dogs on Instagram mostly. There's some TikTok stuff and I think Facebook as well. But if you just look up Blazing Gun Dogs, you'll find everything you need. And we post daily as much as possible. And what you see on social media is what you see when you come here too. I'm very, very strict on that. We try not to sugarcoat anything for social media. We want you to see as real as it is. And when you show up to the grounds and you see the dogs work, it's exactly what you see online. So
Yeah. And, that's what the wife and I are really excited about, coming down there, shaking hands with you and your family and, getting to see that just for even a glimpse. I mean, it's when you invest in a dog like this, it's like, it's nice to really see where it comes from and get to meet the people, and, I'll tell you this much. If old Dennis and Billy, if them two boys vouch for you, it's they're full believers in you. And that's when I was hooked. I saw Elvis, I don't know, what was that, two seasons ago? They came up here to Colorado to hunt. And
yeah, and he was just a baby then. I mean, he was just kind of getting his legs. So
yeah.
But
and then it was like, man, it was so that you can just tell it's like, man, that dog has got it and it understands. And like his transition from land, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. Elvis's transition from land to water, man, that dog gets after it when he goes. He loves to jump and really get out there.
Big water entries. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get asked all the time, how do I teach my dogs to do that? Like, how do I teach my dog to enter the water like yours? We have this, everybody sees that. I just tell the dogs, go play. And they're belly flopping in the water. They're jumping out as high as they can. And they teach themselves. Dogs learn so much from each other, more than I can ever teach them. And they can pick up some really bad habits too if you're not careful. So when I start seeing a bunch of shenanigans going on, everybody's called back to place. But I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, you have a very well trained dog and you take that dog out there with a young dog. If that young dog is willing and wanting to do the job, it will learn from that trained dog. And that's it's something so cool to watch. So if you can have a dog, just a story I did, I think yesterday, I had some young dogs out. If you can have some dogs just sit there and pay attention and not whine and not freak out when bumpers are flying or birds are flying, just pay attention. They can learn so much just by watching a good working dog.
Yeah.
Put it together, and it doesn't kill any drive or it doesn't kill any retrieving work, because they're gonna want it if they can pay attention. They're gonna want to do the job.
Right.
So um, something that has been super super cool for me and what I've learned myself is I have some really talented smart dogs,
Mhm.
and how I can train so many and work with so many in a day's time or a year's time is because they are such talented and good working dogs. They want to work for me. They want to work for you. They're willing to do the job. And that kind of gets into some of our training techniques and stuff. It's, there's not any pressure involved. There's not any force training involved. There's a lot of natural talent that they use. I think it takes more time with our training techniques, which there's no doubt, especially when you start getting kind of technical with them. But the basics of the retrieving side of stuff, we have some really really sharp 9, 10 month old pups that are way beyond trained, than a lot of 9, 10 month old pups that I see come in the kennel that somebody
Mhm.
wants me to train. So,
Yeah.
but it's super cool working with talented dogs, and that's something that's taken us a long time to get to where we're at, for sure. That was always our thing, is like we want to breed and train our own dogs. And the hard part about it is it doesn't make a lot of money, trying to keep dogs back and trying to train dogs and get them ready. So it's, during that process, we're training kind of, and I think a lot of trainers know, you're training whatever you can get into the kennel and train. But the goal is to always try to get to where you're, breeding and training your own stuff, the stuff that you know.
And
Mhm.
So
it's probably become so much more consistent and reliable because it's like a training tree, the same way, coaches have coaching trees because it's the things you taught,
yeah.
dogs, and now the dogs are teaching each other, then you can fine tune it. So it just keeps getting better and better. It has to be the hardest getting, unknown dogs with different origins in and then having to get
Oh
them to that
man.
same level because every time is like a new experience, I'd assume.
Yeah. You have no doubt. I mean, no clue. It is one of the hardest things to do when you get an older dog in. Even like a lot of people, even a lot of trainers, they like to take people's dogs in at 6 or 8 months old, which is a great age to start teaching. But if you got a very well bred puppy, you start teaching it 8 weeks old.
Mhm.
Not 6 to 8 months old. You
Mhm.
start teaching that puppy immediately. Once they are able to walk and run around and know what, hear pup pup means, you start training. Um,
Yeah, as a
so
new
you don't take the
parent, like
puppy out of them.
it's those
Yeah,
early years, every early moment, they soak things in like sponges, whether you're talking about kids or animals. So yeah, that makes
no
a ton
doubt,
of
man.
sense when you're training them yourself. So you just have that huge edge on anyone who's just waiting around and then gonna give it to you later to train.
Hmm. Yeah, you get an older. I mean, you get an older dog in that already knows it all with a lot of bad habits. it it's so hard training that dog. It's no different than our employees. We get an employee in here that has experience, so and so, and that already has it all figured out and knows it all, and kind of one track minded. You can't train them to do
Mhm.
anything. They got it all figured out, and the dogs are the same way. They think they got it all figured out, but obviously there's some issues because they're being sent off to training, and it's really really hard to get out in the field and work with a dog that is just got so much retrieving drive, but it doesn't have any controlled uh retrieving drive. It's just all over the place. So
Mhm.
It's crazy how much crossover there is in life because you talk about employees or dogs, but the problem, most of our listeners are paintball players, and the same goes for any sport. Getting people in that are too headstrong, it's harder to teach
mhm,
new, like to adapt to a team setting or to unlock their potential because you could be so stuck in one way or stubborn in other instances. So it's like everything in life crosses over to the same base set of principles. So that's why I
no
like
doubt.
talking to people across any expertise because I think that's the biggest, qualifier for success is just being able to, you know, fully sink into what you're doing and then adapt these same principles that work for everything to that.
Yeah, just admit you don't know it all. Just admit it.
Yeah.
Like, accept that you don't know it all. And every day when you wake up, you need to be learning every single day.
And
It's
that's like,
the
even if you
biggest
know
thing in
the
leadership.
most,
So
and even if you know the most in your industry or that, like, your job is to know more. Like, that's all there is to
every
it.
single
So,
day, man. Yeah, I, I talked to a good friend. We did a podcast. It's probably been maybe 3 years now, or I don't know, maybe two. It's been a little while. I've learned so much more because we were talking about that. I mean, he has a lot more experience than I do. He's probably 30 years in the game now.
Wow.
And just, 2 to 3 years ago from that podcast, I'm so much I've accomplished so much more with these dogs, and I've learned so many more techniques on how to read the dogs properly, and realized like I was making a lot of mistakes. And I hope my old, people that have dogs from me from 10 years ago are not mad at me, but it's trial and error. It really, really is. We get up every day and we do our best on training, and we try to produce the best dog from our facility. But our dogs have gotten so much better year to year, and it's because I've gotten better at it. So
and if you keep that same mindset, in 3 years, you're going to look back and say the same thing. Like, that should always be
same
the goal.
thing, man. Yeah. But
Um,
the
okay.
the thing I was gonna say, like, it, somebody can call and be like, "Hey, my dog's being bad. My dog's doing this," and dogs have learned to respect me. Um, so much more over the time that I've gotten more confident in what I'm doing, because you can call and tell me how bad your dog is, and the dog will show up and it's just not being bad. It's like, yes sir, I'm here to listen. Yes sir. I'm like, oh, it's really being bad, because this is a great dog. So I don't know. It's
It's
the
like,
dogs
switch
know, man,
places with
if
the
you're
dogs.
confident.
Switch place with the
Yeah,
dog. Send the dog home. You come here. I'll train you.
yeah, exactly. That's it. You got to have some confidence, or they'll run over you for sure. So
Mhm. So I was gonna ask, kind of like, how did and like you said, it's growing and learning every day, right? Because not only do you owe that to yourself, but even more, you owe that to the dogs,
yeah,
to help them reach their full potential and be the best that they can be. Because people don't understand. You get a lab, those dogs naturally want to hunt. Like, they just got
yeah,
this drive. They've got this like ancestral knowledge that still lingers with them today. It's like, my dog is the one I have now. She has a nose on her that's incredible. She's a meat dog. Like, and I love it for that. Um,
hmm,
but that's something there's obviously things you do to help that along the way, but like, man, it's like she just has it. And I really think that's what's incredible about working dogs in general. They have that, it's like ancestral knowledge that's just always in their blood. But but to
exactly.
yeah, but to kind of rewind, sorry, I tangented that a little bit. Um,
Well, we wouldn't be
where
else
did you
if
get
you did now.
um well, how did you really build your process? Because like I said earlier, that your training is just phenomenal. Like, that
Yeah.
come out of your dogs. Like, was it all trial and error? Did you grow up like being around that atmosphere in some sort or sense, like friends or family that had those like training
No,
experiences?
not at all, man. I mean, I was the only dog person in the family besides, my mom, and uh, maybe a few family members being pet lovers, but it was just something that I uh I really, really was passionate about watching dogs work. Like I said, it would just I can remember taking a dog. My mom had lake houses growing up, and I can remember taking dogs to the dock and throwing bricks or rocks off of the dock and jumping in with the dog and the dog diving under and grabbing the brick from the bottom of the lake. I didn't realize I was training. And further in life, I realized like I had a skill set of some sort of like dogs respect me. They listen to me. And I
Yeah.
sound like a weird dog person, but it's the truth. There's this it was what I was supposed to do. There's no doubt on my mind. But there
Yeah.
was a time, a transition period when I started getting into dogs and I was like, okay, I want to make this a business. And I linked up with some guys that were trial trainers, American field trial, like you call them white coat guys, trial trainers.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was super, super cool. I was like, man, these dogs are freaking badass. Just fire breathing dogs. Well, I realized that to maintain a dog like that, to maintain 15 dogs like that, you gotta really be on your game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it takes a lot more pressure to maintain a group of dogs like that. And that just wasn't me. I wasn't a guy to put a ton of pressure on dogs. And I started getting into that techniques of training. They it's force training or force fetch or pressure training. Not that I won't get onto a dog's ass if they're acting up, but I'm not the type of guy to just put a ton of pressure on a dog constantly. I'm not the type of guy to try to um be the dominant person over a dog. That's if I'm having to do that, that me and the dog are not going to ever work out together. We need to work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that big transition was just I did that for a few years and it was just kind of on the weekends and I realized like this is not for me. I don't want to train dogs. I'm not going to train dogs this way. Why do you even have to train dogs like this?
Mm-hmm.
And I met an old man that I know that I knew his grandson, and I didn't realize this guy was he was a puppy mill. I mean, he was a straight up, you know, 20 something breeding, selling the dogs wherever he can sell them. If there was any puppies left, you got them for a discount type thing. They were all labs. But one thing about him, I mean, I think his puppy mill became an issue over the years. He was truly knowledgeable about dogs, a very, very good trainer, a very good guy. And I like I said, I think over time the dogs kind of just took over. He was already in his he was in his late 70s when I really started spending time with him a bunch and started working with some of his dogs that were just labs that were just pets. And they were much calmer and just like you said, a lab, they were just happy going labs. And those dogs really kind of intrigued me that there were some really good ones that worked well. And they were good looking dogs. They had everything that I was expecting out of them. They would go get the birds and bring them back, whatever. But I was also missing a little bit of knowledge. Like they were not the smartest dogs, I don't think. I think when it got technical, they kind of failed school. Like they didn't understand what I was trying to teach them. And maybe I was a bad coach at the time because this was a long time ago.
Right.
But I can tell you, it made me think, you know, it made me just look more and more into the breed to figure out what is it going to take to you know, if I ask a dog to go right, it goes right. If I ask a dog to go back and run a straight line through the water and come back on the same line, what is that going to take? And I got into I got into some really well-bred British dogs and I got on a waiting list, kind of how you bought a puppy from us. It took me 2 years to get my first dog. I got that dog. Another puppy came available that a guy backed out on, so I bought that one too. I mean, I dropped like $6,000 on puppies in a week, and versus training these puppy mill labs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, these are smart, well-bred dogs. Surely I can teach these dogs. You know, whatever I ask them to do, they're gonna do it. And that kind of was the case. Like they were really, really good at it, but I
Mm.
still was missing some stuff.
Yeah.
I was still missing what I wanted out of the dogs. And then that's when I kind of got into my own breeding and just testing the waters and seeing what we could produce. And today, you know, 8, 10 years in, I mean, we have some, we've kind of figured it out really over the past 5 years. We've gotten a lot stronger in it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny when people that aren't ever involved, I grew up like with coon dogs,
yeah.
hunting with my dad, that's a different world than this. Obviously, I taught myself how to do all this waterfowl wise. But it's crazy. People that aren't involved with like working dogs, especially hunting dogs. It's like they're like, you put money down on a dog that's not even born. I'm like, not even born. Don't even know if it's gonna. I'm like, I don't even know if there's gonna be 3 males. I have third pick. They're like, third pick. What's that? And I'm like, I was like, and then you're trying to explain it to them, and they can't fathom it. And I'm like, because what? When did you announce Penny and Elvis having a litter? Wasn't that in October? You announced that
Yeah.
y'all were gonna breed for that, right?
What's a litter
Mhm.
range? Like how many to how few?
I'd say 7 to 10. A big litter could be 12, but we
Mhm.
normally only sell 6 spots so we can make sure everybody gets their pup.
Mm-hmm.
Can't ever guarantee a male or female, but we normally have more than 6 pups, and that's the other thing. They're proven mama dogs.
Yeah.
We get in, but once they get to a certain age, the puppy counts get lower, so we
Yep.
retire them early. To make sure that we're still producing the amount of pups we need. So.
For sure.
But yeah, man. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? You pay a deposit for pups that are not even born yet. So
Yeah. And people, it's wild. People they don't even like they don't understand. But you're so like, it's all I could talk about. I was so excited to be getting a dog from you and your family and Elvis and Penny. I was like, people are like, how
yeah.
are you excited over something that's not even born yet? And I was like, because I'm like, dude, it's gonna be great. They're just like, okay, like they look at you like you're kind of crazy. But
I know that feeling, man. I mean, because that's when I was getting into the industry and I was trying to find good dogs, I bought my first dogs from Southern Oak Kennel, and Southern Oak Kennel was kind of just they were just kind of taking off. They were just growing big, and that's who you bought a dog from. I mean, there's other kennels out there, but like they were the ones you bought a dog from at the time, and dude, I was so excited. I was telling everybody, and I was showing everybody the parents, like these dogs are legit. These are
these are the
good dogs.
dogs.
They're smart. They're great pets. They hunt hard. You don't got to put a lot of pressure on them. These guys don't use e-collars. I was just so pumped,
Yeah.
because it was how I imagined training dogs. Just going out and having some good dogs that were willing to work with me. There's nothing better. And then when the
Mhm.
hunting season rolls around, you won't find me hunting without a dog. Screw the hunting part if you don't have a dog. And if somebody says, "Hey, you can't bring your dog," well,
Yeah.
whatever, dude. We're not hunting together.
Yeah.
So,
I
uh,
literally, I
you
literally
know,
tell people, I mean, I literally tell people if there was a way I could work birds and work my dog without ever pulling the trigger, I'd still be just as happy. Like those two
yep.
things are the most exciting things in the world. Like working in birds and then, watching your dog work because I mean,
Yeah.
it's if you've never experienced it, it's like you have no idea how beautiful it is and amazing
It,
that
it's
really
super,
is.
super exciting. And one of the things that, everybody wants that, but it goes back to how well trained your dog is if you're going to show up and go pick up birds for people. Like, is that dog going to make the hunt, or is it just going to completely run the hunt because it's
Mm-hmm.
out of control and doesn't know what it's doing, or it can't shut up? And that was the thing, man. That was just it. Like, I never wanted to be that guy. Like, I wanted to be out there with those dogs and those dogs working, but I never wanted to be the guy running the hunt with the bad dog, because we see it
Yep.
every time. I mean, it's just, and a lot of it's operator error. A lot of it's our mistake, how we brought the dog up, and it's not the dog's fault. A lot of the stuff is we introduced something too early to the dog,
Yep.
and the result is a little bit out of control in a non-controlled environment. You get out on big open water or in the trees, and you're not in your fenced yard where you've been doing your training, and it just
Mhm.
kind of unfolds on you, and it's like, holy cow. But you're right, man. There's no better feeling than getting out there and just working your dog, and especially a good dog,
Yeah.
a dog that knows what they're doing.
Mhm.
So
I think we're going to take a reset with Sersha, my lab that I have now. We're going to try. We talked about some things I'm going through with her and stuff. And I'm just going to reset, see if I can fully reset her and start from the beginning and just, hopefully
mhm.
it helps. We'll see. And if not, we'll be getting that one, that mail from you. By the way, my wife and I finally agreed on a name. Full name,
Awesome.
yeah, full name will be Doc Holiday, and then we'll call him Doc for
Nice.
short. So
That's a
It,
good
you
name.
know,
Good call name.
normally I'm a like a thing before you name a thing, but when you told me that name and gave me the background for it, I was like, yeah, I'm in. That's right. That's right.
but Tim, I know we're cruising up close to an hour, and I just want to be super respectful of your time because I know you made time for us. I Before I let you go, I would really like to ask you a question to end the night, kind of how we end all of our podcasts. Would you mind giving to anyone listening, would you mind giving some dad or life advice for our listeners?
No doubt, man. One of the biggest things that I see every single day, and running a business, being a husband, being a dad, is to always understand your responsibility of that, and never look back and never regret the decisions you make in life, because those decisions are normally putting you where you're at today. And if it's not a good place that you're in,
Oh no.
I know. Worst time is giving some killer advice.
I know.
I've really enjoyed this conversation with him though, so hopefully he
Yeah,
comes back on here. But
I hope so.
shoot him a text.
Yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
hang tight.
And I appreciate, everyone, new listeners who might be coming here because of Blazing Gun Dogs and Tim, or our listeners now who are fans of paintball. I think, to me, it's not about what the thing is someone loves. It's about their passion for it. And I think there's so much crossover. So I love having these conversations and getting to learn something new and experience something new. And I hope that you guys do too. But let us know if you'd like to
Oh,
see
all right,
more
you
of these
there?
types of
Can you hear
episodes.
me?
there he is.
Perfect.
He's back.
All I was saying is where I was getting at, where you're at today is because of the decisions you made in your past, and you never regret those decisions in your past.
Mhm.
You're where you're at today for a reason. And if you want to do better, if you want something better, wake up the next day and be better. And that's it's super important to me. But being a leader for your family and for your kids or for your dogs or for your friends is super, super, super important. Um, you always want to try to be uh, you always want to try to be a good leader in life, no matter what you're doing. So if you're flipping burgers at Burger King, you want to be really, really good at it. So.
Own it. I love it. That's rock solid advice. That was awesome.
Yeah.
With that being said, everybody, Blazing Gun Dogs on Instagram. If you want to go check out his content, I highly recommend it because just watching the dogs that he trains and how he does everything and how amazing the dogs are that are at this kennel is just, it's a sight to behold. And it really is awesome.
Yeah, whether you're interested in a working dog now or not, like, yeah, it's definitely something you can have appreciation for and get entertainment from. So give him a follow and go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just super cool seeing well-behaved dogs. No matter, they don't have to be your hunting dog or whatever. They can just be your companion dog. Yeah. There's nothing better than having a good behaved dog that'll do anything for you. So,
yeah, and it's funny when you take a hunting dog out in public. I'm sure you've had this too. They're like, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, your dog! It's so well behaved." You know, it's the funniest thing. You're like, yeah, sometimes, most of the time, pretty good. But
they'll make liars out of you quick. I mean, they are dogs at the end of the day.
Every time.
Yeah, get the right smelling trash. It's hard to stop them, you know.
Yeah, our kennel trainer, she we have a poodle here in training, and it just will not sit, and it loves to retrieve sometimes, and she come outside with the dog. She's like, "Hey, I got him sitting and retrieving." I'm like, "No way." She comes outside with the dog. He looks at me like, I'm definitely not going to sit, and I'm not going to go pick that up either. So, and he did it. He wouldn't do it. So I'm like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "I got video of it." I'm like, "I know the feeling. I know the feeling."
Well, with that being said, Tim, we'll wrap this up. If you don't mind, we're going to run the outro. Just hang out for a split second afterwards, and we'll add you back to the screen.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate having you on, man. It really was an enjoyable
Thank you, guys.
So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And everyone listening, we'll catch you in the next one.
Well, the whiskey's low and the story's all done, but we sure had ourselves some fun. From tall tales told to the last good pun, you've been rolling with the rowdy one. Thanks for listening, y'all.